Understanding how we got here. Experts all over the world vary on their predictions as to exactly when artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation are going to start radically affecting the world's workforce. One thing they all agree on, however, is that things are going to change, and the changes may come fast. Our children are facing a future that will be radically different from previous generations. A future where smart machines will be doing a lot of the tasks that human beings have always done. This current period, dubbed as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, has been tipped by many to be one of the most important periods in human history. This technological revolution will do nothing less than completely change the way we live and work, and even make us question what it is to be human. Professor Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, said the following when talking about the time ahead. The changes are so profound that, from the perspective of human history, there has never been a time of greater promise or potential peril. The key to avoiding mass unemployment is to understand what direction things are going in and plan for it. The past has shown us many times that those individuals who are unprepared when the waves of technology come crashing through their world will most likely be left behind. So, before discussing the ways you can prepare your child for the future, we need to take a brief look at how the big technology stories of history have shaped our past. Let's jump in the DeLorean as we travel back in time, right back to the beginning of our planet's history. Back then, the Earth was a pretty lonely place. For nearly 3,500 million years, all life remained at a single-celled level. But when it did get started, it got pretty impressive pretty quickly. By around 250 million years ago, those single cells had multiplied a bit and turned into a group of huge reptiles that dominated the animal kingdom for a couple of 100 million years. Unfortunately for them, one day fate struck them a fatal blow, and along with many other species, they were wiped off the face of the Earth forever. The stage was now set for the little guys to be given a chance finally, and from that moment on, history set in motion the events that would eventually lead to you watching this video today. It's now time to hop back into the DeLorean for a touch more time travelling, as we now move forward in time to the Stone Age, and in a dark little cave somewhere in Kenya, this guy was having a pretty epic day. Meet Keith, or as his friends would later call him, the fire starter. Keith doesn't know it right now, but he just stumbled upon one of humanity's first technologies. There he goes, off to boast about it to his mates and, presumably, to find some more stylish shoes. From then on, humankind started to get pretty good at inventing things. Along with the invention of ever more sophisticated tools and Keith's killer idea of harnessing fire, we also came up with some other classics like the wheel, changing the recreational activities of hamsters forever, agriculture, civilization, the compass, gunpowder, paper, and the printing press. However, to witness the birth of the most important technology story in history, we need to set the time circuits to the mid-1700s. Back then, the world was being introduced to the very first engines powered by steam. These fancy new steam engines revolutionized transportation and industry in equal measure and kick-started the first industrial revolution. These new technologies spread quickly across the globe and profoundly changed almost every aspect of human life, becoming arguably the most significant turning point in human history. Average income and population levels exploded, and the standard of living for most families started to improve year on year for the first time in history. However, not everyone was having a great time. Some workers of this period saw their jobs whisked from under them as machines made them obsolete. Perhaps the most famous example from history is the group of British textile workers of the early 1800s, who carried out many attacks against the mechanized looms and knitting frames that they feared were replacing them. They named themselves the Luddites, a description that was later used as a blanket term to describe people who refused to embrace new technology and change. These new machines and processes of industrialization ushered in the second industrial revolution, where we saw an era dominated by petroleum, steel, and another major invention, electricity. Before the introduction of public electricity, people used to live quite differently from how we do now, and nothing much happened after dark. In fact, before electric light, we even used to sleep entirely differently. Did you know that your great-great-great-grandparents used to sleep in two distinct periods, known as the first and second sleep? According to historians, households would retire a couple of hours after dusk, and then wake a few hours later for 1 or 2 hours before going back to sleep. During this period, people would generally relax, ponder their dreams, play games, or get romantic. Everything changed with the invention of the light bulb. Suddenly, our homes were flooded with light, and the introduction of street lighting ushered in a revolution in the way people socialized after dark. First and second sleeps turned into one longer sleep. These guys lost their jobs, and the rest is history. Know someone that has insomnia? This change in our sleep patterns may well be responsible.